to lead the Thunder to where they are right now, which is third in the Western Conference. And yes, they pick up Markieff Morris, but what I just got to say it honestly. Yeah, the Thunder picked up Markieff Morris. Enes Kanter is now in Portland, but what the hell are they going to do to help? Kenneth Faried in Houston is perfect. The Manimal is in Houston, and it's perfect. Because it now gives Houston an extra rebounder to offset Clint Capella. The problem? The Rockets still shoot threes at an alarming rate. And yes, I said alarming. More on that later. So, no to Giannis, no to PG-13, and hell no to James Harden. They're the leading candidates due to hype and due to stats. The three contenders for the MVP, in my eyes, all reside in Oakland. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and yes, Stephen Curry. I will tell you why none of those three will get MVP honors. As I mentioned, the NBA is obsessed with two things: stars and stats. The reason that Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, nor Kevin Durant will get a slither of MVP votes is because they are all on the same team. That's why. Unfortunately for Stephen Curry, his MVP conversation was brought to a screeching halt due to an 11-game absence due to an injury, which I believe is totally unfair. Totally unfair. Kevin Durant has been consistent in helping to lead that team all year long. And yet he will not get a sniff of it. Because he's not playing hard. He's playing smart. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. Let me say that again. Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry, it looks like they're not all playing hard. They are. They're just playing smart. When players have played with folks like LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, Giannis, all those guys, when you're on a team with them, you have to conform to them. The Warriors conform to each other, and that's why they keep winning. That's exactly why they keep winning. They don't care who gets the shine. And the biggest reason Klay Thompson will never get a sniff of the MVP is because most of the NBA consider him a third wheel until he decides to light up an opponent with a 60-point game or 14 three-point field goals. What y'all don't realize is that Klay Thompson holds 4 NBA records. 4. Okay? The 2 significant records that he holds that I believe will never be broken. One he set this year with 14 three-point field goals. And the second he set 37 points in a quarter. 37 points in a quarter. So to me, the MVP comes down to 3 Warriors. And because they're all Warriors, they won't get a slither of the MVP because the NBA has it in the works. I'm going to go ahead and say it. People are going to get mad at me for saying it, but I have believed this since the Warriors became a dynasty. The NBA has it in the works to not only take the Warriors down, but make sure none of the Warriors get a sniff at the MVP. None. Especially after Stephen Curry became, dare I say it, a unanimous MVP. And he should have been the last 2 years. You want to talk about somebody that's valuable to their team When he's out, the Warriors don't perform well. They look lost on the floor. Yes, they have won without Stephen Curry in the playoffs, but they look lost on the floor. Instead of 130 points per game, they're only getting 110. Hell, 100. And as far as James Harden goes, you got to be kidding me, right? You got to be kidding me. James Harden takes 44 shots a game. 44. 44 shots a game in 37 minutes a game. And he is not hitting that good of a percentage. Listen to this. Last night against Atlanta, James Harden was 7 for 21. Know what people are going to call that? An off night. And continue the hype train for James Harden. They're going to call that an off night. He's shooting 44% from the floor on average in 37 minutes. Volume shooting. Volume shooting does not get it done, in my opinion. And yes, I'm old school. I can't help it, and I won't help it. And you know the next name that people are going to try to sell to me for most valuable player, and Big Dog, I know you're listening, Russell Westbrook. Because for 2 consecutive seasons, he's averaged a triple-double. And most recently, he had a streak of 11 consecutive games where he had a triple-double. Let me pose a question to those of you that are fans of Russell Westbrook. Do you really think, and I mean every word of this question, do you really think he got those triple doubles naturally? Or do you think, in my opinion, this is only one man's opinion and it's all that it is, it's an opinion, or do you think Russell Westbrook was trying to get people to get his own teammates out of the way to get those final stats? Let me give you an example. Last year, last game of the season, Russell Westbrook, who was a dynamic athlete, don't get it twisted, he's a dynamic athlete, needed 16 rebounds to average a triple-double for the season. Hell, there may be a chance he may do it a 3rd consecutive season. Who knows? Yeah, he got all 16 rebounds, but you think he wasn't pushing people out of the way to get him? Carmelo Anthony even said as such. He even said as such. That he's stat chasing. And in my opinion, he's still stat chasing. Even with Paul George. You don't believe me? Take a peek at this. 42% shooting average for Russell Westbrook. And everybody obsesses, a lot of people obsess over Westbrook because he drives hard to the hole. He drives in on people's face. Listen to me, folks. I'd rather take my chance with a fellow shooting 40-foot three-pointers than with a guy that loves attacking the rim. Why, you ask? Because come May and June, and the Warriors have played well into June the past 4 years, I'll take my chances with that. Because it is more than likely that Stephen Curry will have a lot left in the tank than Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Giannis, and Paul George will. Which should explain why those teams, Milwaukee, OKC, and Houston, although I'll give Houston a slight edge, which is why the other teams are going to fall at the feet of Golden State. This is practice for them. I've had people say it on my show, and I've echoed it. This is practice for them. Hell, this year, Stephen Curry, he's not at 50% yet. He's at 48.5. Russell Westbrook's at 42. James Harden's at 44. But you're going to tell me that all the MVP candidates, all they do is shoot and they score a lot? Take a closer look at the stats. Take a closer look. And don't even feed me that LeBron should be considered for MVP. He's not even in the conversation. Let's stop that right there. Ain't no way. Ain't no possible way. No possible way that the MVP should not come from the Golden State Warriors. They are the base team. They are the best team. They have the best players. They are defending their title until they are defeated in a 7-game series, which ain't going to happen for a couple of more years. I said it. It ain't going to happen for a couple of more years. I've said it at the top of the season, and I continue to say it now. The Warriors are going to blow up Oracle Arena with a title, and they're going to blow the doors off the Chase Center with 2 more. Well, I'm going to change that statement. The Warriors are going to blow up Oracle Arena with a title, but they're going to blow the doors off the Chase Center with 4 of them. I know I'm dreaming big and I'm thinking big, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm sick and tired of people trying to challenge me about my knowledge of basketball because they can bring up a couple of stats and throw it in my face, and they don't look at how the definition of most valuable player is how you affect a team. 3 people in Oakland affect a team: Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry. The one game Klay Thompson missed with an injury, the Warriors lost. There's your definition right there. Steph goes out with an injury, 4-game losing streak. Yeah, they went 7-4 in that stretch. They've been fortunate enough to have KD for an entire season, and Kevin Durant is shooting better than any of the candidates mentioned. Kevin Durant is shooting 51.5% from the field this year. That's not MVP worthy? I ain't buying it. Snowman in the Morning brought to you in part by ProPicks. Visit ProPicksNow.com to make your bets now through great affiliates, including MyBookie, where you get 50% extra on your bets up to $1,000. That's ProPicksNow.com. 21 and over, and please gamble responsibly. Talking NBA to open today's show, I have Mike DeBay coming on at 45 after the hour. But you want to know something? There is so much talk. And I even heard this sentence uttered. And Shane, I know you're going to help me with this, dog. I actually heard someone say they pursed their lips together and had the unmitigated gall, the balls, the nuts, and the nerve to say that Stephen Curry is, ready, overrated. Let me repeat that. I had someone say to me that Stephen Curry is overrated. There's a fellow by the name of Reggie Miller who spent his entire career with the Indiana Pacers. That has called quite a few of Stephen Curry's games in recent times. And he has said that we are watching arguably the greatest shooter to ever play the game. This includes a list of legends that include Ray Allen, Reggie Miller himself, Larry Legend, throw John Paxson in there. I'm throwing Klay Thompson in there. Let's see. What are some other legendary shooters? I already tossed John Paxson in there. Hell, he sealed a championship with a jump shot. Steve Kerr, current Golden State coach, legendary shooter with the Bulls and the Spurs. Jerry West, legendary shooter. All of these guys love what Stephen is doing. And you know I got to bring up his dad, Del Curry. Legendary shooters. And someone had the nerve to say to me that Stephen Curry is overrated? Steve Kerr, Stephen Curry's current coach, said himself that Steph is probably the greatest shooter he's ever seen. In shooting 47.8% from the field for his career. A career that started in 2009 averaging 17.5 points a game to present day 28.4 at 48.5 shooting, playing 34 minutes. Now, granted, due to various injuries, he hasn't played a full season. And there were nights he was just given the night off where he didn't play a full season. Hell, 2017, he only played 51 games, still put up 26.4. That's not overrated, folks. That's not overrated at all. Sorry. And this is a kid that developed from shooting the ball at his hip, working very hard to develop his game, and now having the ability to get shots off from anywhere. You know a three-point legend I didn't mention? Thunder Dan Marley. Remember him? Jeff Hornacek. Remember him? Huh? Dale Ellis. What is this guy's name? Detlef Schrempf. Hell, Larry Bird was at the three-point contest in Chicago, walked up to the rest of the contestants and say, which one of y'all is coming in second? And I know for at least 4 consecutive years, Stephen Curry had the most three-point field goals made, including being the only player in NBA history with not 100, not 200, not 300, but 400 three-point goals in the season. The year was 2016. The year was 2016. And do you know every teammate on that Golden State team, especially the starters, benefit from Steph being on the floor? And I've had people say, Steph's just a shooter. Steph's just a shooter. Wrong? No. I mean, yeah, he's taken 11 three-point 11 3-point field goals. He's attempting 11 3-point field goals a game this season. But he's shooting at a 45% clip. Hell, he's shooting at a 44% clip from distance for his career. And this is a guy that takes 40-footers off of 1 foot because he wants to. Come on now. Steph set a screen for Clay in Chicago and allowed Clay to get his 14th three-point goal of the year. Really? And Steph as a leader, don't even question it. When they lost the NBA Finals in 2016, and I'm going to have Shane Lake come on the show probably Friday to discuss the stimulus package the Cleveland Cavaliers were given to make quote-unquote history. He had 400 three-point goals during the season. 402 to be exact. Just as Steph helps his team, the team helps him, especially in the words of one Bob Fitzgerald, the longtime television voice of the Golden State Warriors. When the human torch is activated. And I'm doing this segment not just for me, but for the people who truly watch basketball, who truly have watched real players develop. Stephen Curry is one of them. The impact on his teammates? Oh, come on. Do I have to define that? I told you, when he's not on the floor, they look lost. I mean, granted, they got 4 other stars that can get them through, but there's something about the edge of Stephen Curry that says, I'm going to take this shot in your face at the logo, and I'm going to hit it. Because there are times, and I know y'all have seen it, where he has taken a shot and began running back on defense because he knows it's in. He knows it's in. He knows it's in. And as far as his free throw percentage goes, 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons. Am I looking at this right, Shane? 4 seasons. He's led the NBA in free throw percentage. He's shooting 90.5% from the free throw line. Only the legendary Larry Bird can compete with those numbers. That's hard work, folks. That's practice. That's dedication. That's an impact on his team where you can basically put 2 points in the books when Stephen Curry goes to the free throw line, or sometimes 3, or sometimes when he hits a ridiculous shot and gets fouled and gets 4. How do you like them apples? You know how much fun Stephen Curry makes it for Golden State to come on the floor every night and say, you know what? We're going to get this. By the way they're playing right now, they're going to wind up 58-24, which will mark another struggle season in Dub Nation, if you want to call it that. Last year, 58-24. 7 games behind the Rockets for the number 1 seed in the West. And they still won it all. And now they add Boogie Cousins. Along with Kevin Durant. And it's like he gets 2 extra toys on Christmas. Oh, look what I have. The best damn player in the game, Mr. Kevin Durant, and the best damn center in the game. And I get to pass the ball to him. Will he ever lead the league in assists? Probably not. But he's one hell of a point guard. He's one hell of a player. You wouldn't believe this would be his 10th season in the NBA, and he ain't done. Not by a long shot. He ain't done. And one of the greatest things in the world, especially for Stephen Curry haters, y'all get to watch this develop live and in your face. I'll say it again. The greatest thing about this, the absolute greatest thing about this, about Stephen Curry, about how he is, and you know something, let me throw a little Nick Wright at y'all, okay? And people know who Nick Wright is. Nick Wright is one of the biggest Stephen Curry haters ever. Ever. Nick Wright loves to champion LeBron James and hates like hell to talk about Stephen Curry. Because Stephen Curry is a true underdog. Because Stephen Curry is a true personification of being a professional. Because Stephen Curry, unbeknownst to LeBron, unbeknownst to Harden, unbeknownst to Giannis, unbeknownst to PG-13, Stephen Curry is the face of the NBA right now. And he's going to be for the foreseeable future. And to echo a point that I said yesterday, and Shane, you can write this down. You can mark this down and record it, which I know you are. My producer, the big dog, Shane Lake. Stephen Curry's not going anywhere. And neither are the Golden State Warriors. Hate them all you want. But they're not going anywhere. And I love it. I love it. An unexpected dynasty. Unexpected. And people are so mad that a 6'3", 185-pound player out of small Davidson College can have this big, this much, and this profound of an impact. Y'all know how I feel. I love old school basketball, and I will stay with that statement until I die. But if there is a current player that takes me back to old school basketball, because as much as he scores, he's more concerned about the team, that player is Stephen Curry, and that team is the Golden State Warriors. Deal with it. I know this is going to ruffle some feathers, and I really don't care. I'm having fun. I'm having a ton of fun. And I'm going to have a little more when I offer my thoughts, finally, on Space Jam 2. Oh, hell. Snowman in the morning, back in a flash.
is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Hadouken! That's a spicy meatball!
You want to be a sponsor of this here program like ProPix is? All you have to do is drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. Or you can call our world headquarters at 708-391-5142. That's 708-391-5142 to hit our offices here in Chicago. And you can also email snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. Coming up, Mike Debate at 45 beyond the hour. But I got to talk about something for a few minutes that, for lack of a better term, pissed me off. And I mean this, I mean this playfully, okay? I can't say it, but I have to say it. Y'all remember Space Jam with His Airness and the Looney Tunes? Michael loves the Looney Tunes, okay? Michael's favorite character is Bugs Bunny. I met the man, the legend, His Airness, and he confirmed as such. That has me smiling right now, but I ain't going to be smiling in the next couple of seconds when I say there's a Space Jam 2 coming and LeBron James is in it. Now, with that being said, I offered the following question, and it goes like this. What in the Vita Blue, yellow-bellied, red-blooded hell are they thinking? What the hell? You're going to remake a classic cartoon/live movie and have LeBron in this thing? Really? And the reason it got me going is because they not only conceived the idea, there is now a release date behind it. Oh, my God. Now, all these LeBron fans are going to stick it to me and give me more ish than I account for because I'm sitting there laughing at it right now because I know what's coming. I know what's coming. I absolutely know what's coming. These LeBron fans, bless their heart, are going to tease me mercilessly and keep reminding me that in June of 2021, I will see LeBron in Space Jam 2. What? Oh, Lord. You mean to tell me that Bugs Bunny and the rest of the Looney Tunes, I mean this playfully because I don't know the script, haven't read the script, haven't seen the script, nor will I, but I'm being playful right now. You mean to tell me that Bugs Bunny and the rest of the Looney Tunes are going to team up with this man? What's the plot now? They already saved the planet. Whose talent are they going to steal this time? And sequels never do good as the originals in the first place. Never. There are very, 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 very few exceptions to this rule. Very few. But why in the hell is LeBron James starring in this movie? Am I going to go see it? Hell no. Remember, I'm being playful, folks. It hurt my eyes when I saw the picture that was put out on Twitter. It hurt my eyes. Oh, my Lord, it hurt my eyes. Now, like I said, once again, I'm being facetious. I'm being playful. Okay? I'm just having fun with this. Why the hell would they even consider making this movie? Why? What the hell is wrong with these people? I'm being facetious now. Well, I know for a fact there's no way, none, that I will lay eyes on this movie. Ever. I can't do it. Which goes to my opening. I can't do it. There's just no way. Usually I can find some kind of rhyme or reason to figure. Usually I say I can find some sort of rhyme or reason for this. This time I can't. LeBron and Space Jam 2? What? I'll stop there. Visit our website at snowmaninthemorning.com. We got a Patreon up too. Patreon.com/SITmorning. Please consider becoming a patron subscriber for as little as $1 a month. You'll get some exclusive content that I've been working on in pertains to the show and to my personal podcast. And Mike Debate is on his way from full press coverage. And I told you we got something in the works. As a matter of fact, as I look at the line, he's here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mike Debate from Full Press Coverage. What up, Mike?
Brian, always a pleasure, my friend. Happy Tuesday morning.
Happy Tuesday morning. Now, Mike's usually with us on Monday, but unfortunately, a schedule change happened at the last minute, so he's on this morning. Glad to have him on. Let's dive right into this. Let's talk some football, and I will begin with this question, and I know you're going to have fun with this. Who is the best fit for Le'Veon Bell?
Oh, I mean, right now with what Le'Veon brings to the table, if you asked me this question about 6 months ago, I probably would have said Indianapolis. But with the emergence of Marlon Mack, I mean, it's almost amazing that he would be someone that they would consider at this point, considering the amount of money that he wants. I mean, there's no question about the talent that Le'Veon is going to bring to a team. So
Absolutely.
For me, I think it's very, very interesting to see where he might end up. The name that keeps coming up for me, and not just probably because of the fit that he would bring, but also the cap space and the ability to be able to sign him to a contract of his liking, right now is the New York Jets. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings from New Jersey right now that there might be mutual interest. We'll see how that all plays out. But right now, if you think about a team that really is desperate to kind of get back into the good graces of the AFC East, right now the Dolphins have had already a pretty interesting off-season with the hiring of Brian Flores, bringing in a completely new coaching staff. I think a very good coaching staff. I'm familiar with a lot of names on his coaching staff. So he's really, really building something good down there in Miami. Buffalo is always a 50-50 toss-up right now. I mean, there's a lot of talent on that defense. If they're able to harness some sort of continuity on the offensive side of the football, that could be a dangerous team. And then you're talking about the Jets that would really want to make a big splash. Are they going to be able to throw enough money at Le'Veon to be able to allow him to sign there? So there are some, rumblings right now that there is some mutual interest, but there are a number of teams out there that would love to procure his services. There's no question about that.
Well, speaking of the best fit, let me throw a wild card in there. How about Le'Veon? And yes, I'm being a homer when I do this, so you know where I'm going. Why not San Francisco?
Well, San Francisco is one of the teams that a lot of people are looking at as a possible fit for Le'Veon Bell. When it comes to contract issues, that's always something that you want to be, very careful on. But they backed up the Brinks truck last year for Jimmy Garoppolo, and with well deservedly so. I mean,
Right.
He's going to be locked up now for the foreseeable future as their quarterback of the future. It's definitely a possibility. There's no question about it. He would fit well within that offense. Think about what types of pressure that would take off of Jimmy Garoppolo coming back from a very debilitating injury, and being able to ride a running back like Le'Veon Bell and be able to balance off the offense. On paper and in theory, it's a tremendous fit. You have to wonder what the contract situation is going to be, and that would be negotiations between both of those sides. But in terms of an on-field fit, Le'Veon to the San Francisco 49ers is as good as you'll see in the league.
How big, and I know Jerick McKinnon's coming back from an injury because we didn't see him at all in 2018 because he was injured in training camp, and he wasn't able to get on the field to show what he could do, and his teaming with Garoppolo. But think of this backfield. Le'Veon Bell and Matt Breida out of Georgia Southern.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if the Niners are eager to see that duo of Jerick McKinnon and Matt Breida working in tandem, and again, you said something that didn't happen in 2018 because of the ACL tear on McKinnon, they would look at that point to, I think, maybe upgrade. And here's the catch-22 when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. If they were to move on from McKinnon and they want to pursue Le'Veon Bell, it's going to cost $6 million in dead money to part with him, in addition to the likely massive financial commitment that it's going to take to land Le'Veon Bell.
Yes.
Given the success that Shanahan and the Niners have had with unheralded backs like a Matt Breida, I think that they have more pressing needs at other positions. So this is going to be a tough fit. Like I said, on paper, and you take a look at what happened with McKinnon, and you take a look at how Le'Veon would balance up Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's a great hand-in-glove fit from a theoretical standpoint. But when you take a look at the logistics of the matter, it seems like it would be moderate to unlikely at best.
Yeah.
But, you never know. It doesn't – it's the other wild card in this is if Le'Veon's market value ends up being a lot less than what people are anticipating. Then all of a sudden you can add in a lot of other teams to that mix. I think the Eagles would be interested. The Raiders could be a possibility. Even the Ravens could be an interesting fit with Lamar Jackson and being able to run the football now. Having a quarterback that's that mobile and then a running back that's that mobile could be an impressive fit there. But, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know that San Francisco has got some interesting things going on. I'm wondering how much they would be willing to commit to Le'Veon at this point.
Speaking of San Francisco making a commitment, the other free agent name that's out there on offense, and may as well go ahead and put his name out there right now, that's Antonio Brown. Given everything that's happened off the field, all the antics, all the stupidity, and yes, I'm labeling it stupidity, he's still one hell of a receiver, and he has been touted at least for a month now that he's going to wear the red and gold. Is this a possibility? Why or why not?
A possibility for the 49ers?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely – the Niners are in a strong position to get something done by a trade. I think they're much more likely to add a big name by a trade than by a big-time free agent contract. They have the third choice in the third round. That's a 67th pick overall. They didn't pick up the option on Pierre Garçon, and they need a number one wide receiver on the opposite side of Marquise Goodwin. The combination of Antonio Brown, Goodwin, and then George Kittle, that's going to give Jimmy Garoppolo a very strong receiving core. If you can get those three guys on board with Jimmy G, that's going to be very, very impressive. Antonio Brown has not made it a secret that the San Francisco 49ers are very high on his list. As a matter of fact, there are some people, some insiders that I respect very much that have said that he really favors the 49ers above all other teams. He would love to train in the off season with Jerry Rice, and the San Francisco connection there would be amazing. The Niners were aggressive last year. They were trying to trade for Khalil Mack. A lot of people forget that. I think this off season you're going to see them really make a push toward Earl Thomas, who I think is going to be someone that they would love to bring and put in with Richard Sherman in that backfield. Adding Antonio Brown would really help them to cut the talent gap between them and the Rams and the Seahawks in the NFC West. So that's a very, very intriguing option. That third pick may look pretty good to Pittsburgh at this point if they're able to trade him to a team that they may not have to see for quite a while, and also a team that they would not have to see until the Super Bowl if both teams were able to get by. So that's an intriguing destination.
And you said it best. Teaming Jimmy Garoppolo with Antonio Brown, Marquise Goodwin, and George Kittle kind of gives you a reminder when Montana had John Taylor, Jerry Rice, and Brent Jones. How's that for a reminder of old days in San Francisco?
Absolutely, no question about it. And if they want to harken back to those types of days where they had that dominant threat on both sides of the ball, San Francisco 49ers are a couple of moves here and there away from really, I think, being able to give the Los Angeles Rams a run for their money.
Yeah.
And that's a team that came within an eyelash of winning a Super Bowl title. So that says a lot about the talent level and the coaching prowess that these two teams are going to bring to the table. NFC West could be a real interesting division this year. I think three potential teams that could really potentially contend for a division title this year.
Let's take a look at some team profiles, and we're going to start in the NFC East. And I flipped a coin as to the team that we're going to look at from the NFC East as we, kind of mix in some previews for next year, and we'll dive into more detail as the spring goes on and as the draft goes on. The team I want to look at, and I want you to help me look at, is the New York Giants. Are they going to be in a position to compete, and where do they improve to get back to the upper echelon of the NFC?
Well, that's the ultimate question. That is the ultimate question where it comes. And really, I think it begins and ends, and I'm sorry to say this, I think it begins and ends at quarterback in terms of what they're going to do. I think that's going to dictate a lot of what their off-season struggles are going to, either struggles or successes are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
If they go into 2019 with Eli Manning as their starting quarterback, which at this time last year, well, maybe not this time last year, but early on in the 2018 season, it seemed almost unfathomable. You saw Eli really looking like he was at the end of his road, where he had nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
But it's actually not as much of a staunch reality as people think it is. It's something that very well could happen. But even if he's the starter, there's still a pressing need to find that next franchise quarterback. The other big key for the Giants is getting help on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Nate Solder and Will Hernandez are going to continue to man the left side, but the right side really is anyone's guess right now. Nate struggled this year. Again, I'm very familiar with Nate Solder's work, having covered, the New England Patriots for the last couple of years, and seeing what Nate Solder brought to the table. Now, you saw the Patriots' offensive line really kind of not miss a beat without him. That's not a knock to Nate Solder. I think that's much more of a positive thrown in the way of a guy like Dante Scarnecchia, who to me is probably one of the most brilliant of all time offensive line coaches. I just think what he brings to the table is phenomenal. But that's going to be interesting to see what move the Giants tend to make at quarterback. We heard a real, very, very low rumbling about Russell Wilson last week, and that got squashed very quickly.
Yeah,
so
did.
I don't look for that as being something that's a likely scenario. But, you've heard all different kinds of combinations and permutations that could happen there. On defense, I think the Giants end up needing to cut bait with obviously with Eli Apple. They need to bring someone with a little bit more of a pedigree at corner. And you saw Landon Collins, obviously, it looks like he's not going to be back with the Giants. I mean, when you clean out your locker and start saying goodbye to people, usually not a good sign that you're looking to come back to this team.
Right.
So I think both the cornerback and the safety positions need to be addressed. Olivier Vernon, Ogletree, they didn't quite live up to their contracts in the first year in the new system. I don't know if the team is going to look very quickly for an upgrade or if they're going to maybe look for cheaper options. If they move on from both, they would save $18 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm.
If they do that, I think that could really free up the Giants to be able to be a major player in, something, in free agency and maybe even look to acquire via trade. Obviously, they're set at running back. Saquon Barkley looks to be the real
phenomenal
deal. And with a lot of great reason for that. Linebacker is another position that I'd look for them. I think they're going to address linebacker through the draft. I think they're going to look to get younger in that backfield. I still think the Giants are a couple of years away from contending, so I don't look for them to look into the draft, the early part of the draft, for some help at linebacker. I think they're going to be looking heavily at quarterback. I think they're going to be looking heavily at the offensive line positions. And in the later rounds, you might see them take a little bit of a flyer on a corner or a safety. I think the corner and the safety positions, I think they may look to add through free agency. I think they want some stability, some leadership, and some veteran presence in that backfield for the Giants defense.
Taking a look at let's go back to the offensive line. How do they fix that one side of the offensive line? Do they do it via the draft or do they do it via free agency? How do they handle this?
Well, they looked into free agency last year, and like I said, they brought in Nate Solder to a large contract. Offensive linemen tend to get pretty good deals, and there are some guys out there that could, they could take a flyer on if they had the cap space. They would want to go out there and maybe do, maybe to work on either a short-term deal where they can load the contract up front or maybe, spread it out over the course of a couple of years. I don't think you'll see them give Nate Solder money to another offensive lineman. The name that I keep looking at when it comes to is Jonah Williams out of Alabama. If the Giants don't go quarterback in round one, they could really solidify the offensive line with Williams. And I think that that's something that, to me, looks to be more of a possibility than people had originally thought. I think originally everyone was thinking they're going to go quarterback in the first round. They've got to get Eli out of there. They have to yank him. Eli showed toward the end of the season that he may still have maybe one more season left in the tank, playing at an Eli Manning type level. Not peak Eli Manning, but someone that can at least get the job done and manage the game for them. He brings a lot of, game intelligence to the field. He's still someone that's relatively savvy, a lot of experience, and he can still throw when he needs to. We saw him do it last year. Mm-hmm. So that could be a situation where I think if they're going to look to bring in either a right side tackle or a right side guard, you could look to see them go through the early rounds of the draft. That may be an interesting fit for them, and I think they're more likely to use the draft to rebuild a line right now than I think they are for free agency. If they do for free agency, I think it'll be for one of the lesser names, not necessarily one of the big-time ticket free agents that's probably going to get a lot more money elsewhere.
Let's go to the AFC East as we take a look at our second team profile. Let's stay in New York. Let's look at the New York Jets. Where do they start? They got their franchise quarterback, I believe, in Sam Darnold. Still a couple things for him to work on, but from what I have seen, Sam Darnold is a good fit for the Jets. And you mentioned one key position, and I'll start there on offense, where they could use a vast improvement, and that position is running back.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned, Le'Veon earlier on in the conversation, and I still think that is an excellent fit. It's going to come down to two things: does Le'Veon want to play in New York, and does the New York Jets look to essentially back up the Brinks truck, to use another analogy we just used, to be able to sign him. In terms of need, in terms of pure need, when I talked about the teams that would be interested in Le'Veon, like either the San Francisco 49ers or, the Oakland Raiders, the Houston Texans could be a possibility there as well. We didn't even mention the Green Bay Packers, who actually are a team that's kind of lurking around the outskirts on Le'Veon, looking to take a flyer as well. The Jets really need him more than any of those teams, because when you take a look at offensive threats, there's still elements of the offense that will allow you to say, okay, well, they can get by even if they don't get him. I think the Jets desperately need a running back, and they desperately need someone to be able to help Sam Darnold hone in his skills, maybe take one more year to really take that next step forward. Once they do that, and once he's able to do that, then I think things will improve. But Adam Gase coming in as the head coach, I think, is a good move for the New York Jets. He knows the division. He does maximize the ability to get the most out of young quarterbacks. I think Sam Darnold is going to really, really like playing for Adam Gase. On the defensive side of the ball, don't necessarily think that that hiring Greg Williams was just a footnote. This is something that is going to really improve that defense. Whether you agree with Williams on a personal level or whether you don't, considering his connection with Bounty Gate and everything that happened in New Orleans, this is a very savvy defensive coordinator. And the Jets do have talent there. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do and how they do it. There's a lot. There are needs, that the Jets do have. You mentioned running back. Obviously, there's no question about it. I think they really could use some offensive help on the line. And I think they also could use a pass rush as well in terms of being able to bring in someone to put pressure on the quarterback. So those are two areas that I would look for them to really target in the draft. If they're going to go running back, I think they go. I do think they go in the direction of free agency.
Yeah,
I think they'll really take a big swing at Le'Veon, and if for some reason that doesn't work out, then they'll probably look to the market for maybe a lesser name to come in. But it'll be interesting to see how they work it. But with a new coaching staff in place, it'll be interesting to see what the Jets are able to do.
Mike DeBate from Full Press Coverage joining me as we talk NFL, doing some team profiles as we close up shop on this segment. And I'm going to take pleasure out of giving you one more, and we're going to go to the NFC. I was going to say NFC Central. I'm so used to saying that. I'm sorry. I'm old. I know that, but I'm going to say it. Let's go to the NFC Central, and I know a team that you are high on as well as I toward the end of the season, and save a missed field goal in the postseason would have gotten them far in the NFC playoffs. And you know where I'm going. That team is the Chicago Bears.
Top Bears. Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's no question about it. We're high on the Bears, and we have been, now for the past, few weeks, and we've sung their praises for quite a while now, and I completely agree with that. Listen, the Bears are just a couple of, like you said, they're really a field goal away from, making a real big splash into the NFC playoffs this year, and I think they could have gone pretty far. I love the pieces that they have in place from an offensive standpoint. At the skill positions, I think they're very well suited. I like Trubisky as the quarterback of this team. I think he shows a great amount of leadership. The team shows a great amount of explosiveness when he's in there. I like what they bring to the table when it comes to running backs and it comes to wide receivers. They could look to add little bit pieces here and there, but I think they've got their core in place when it comes to offensive skill positions. One thing that I would like to see them do is maybe add another body on the offensive line. I think that they could use that. They would be able to, provide a little more protection for Trubisky, maybe open up the holes a little bit for, the running backs to be able to find their way through. So that, to me, is a big key position that I think they would target. If there is a Achilles heel for the Bears right now, and I don't see too many, but if there is one, I do think it's something where they may look to buy a draft, not necessarily buy a free agency, but buy a draft, get a little bit younger in the defensive backfield.
Yeah.
I would look for them to maybe target a cornerback, maybe target a safety. These are, teams that have, I've heard some players that have been connected to the Bears. I've heard Kendall Sheffield out of Ohio State, Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State. These are players that have been somewhat connected to the Bears' interest. They might be on their big draft board. So, I really, by the time the Bears are ready to accompany these guys, maybe long off the board, but I think pie in the sky, if they could possibly be able to land one of them, I think they would really, really see a huge improvement in the secondary play. But the Bears are not too far off. They don't need too much to be able to be competitive this season.
Mike DeBate joins me each week to talk NFL happenings. Hey, you think the season stopped at the Super Bowl? Not for us. He joins me every Monday, although it's Tuesday today. Had a work schedule conflict come up. He joins me every Monday, courtesy of Full Press Coverage. Follow him online at fpcoverage.com. Follow him on Twitter, FPC_Patriots and MDebateFPC. And our flagship station, Arena Sportsnet, will be teaming up with Full Press Coverage to give you some even better content. Some written, some spoken. We got a lot of stuff in the works. Stay tuned. Mike, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Always a pleasure to join you, Brian. Look forward to doing it again next week.
We'll do it again next week. Thanks, man.
Have a good week, my friend. Take it easy.
Can you imagine the improvements that Mitch Trubisky can make if he gets a better offensive line in front of him? That is going to be absolutely scary. Very scary. And you never know how that's going to go. You really don't. You really don't. We did our profiles and we're running ahead of schedule actually. So, I'm going to drop you this and I'll be back in a moment with the question of the day, and then Mike Green will join me to talk some NHL hockey. Snowman in the morning, back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next!
Excuse me, bitch!
Are you kidding me? What?
Rolling right along here on this Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Thank you all for joining us. We are presented by ProPicks. Visit ProPicksNow.com to make your bets now through great affiliates, including MyBookie, where you get 50% extra on your bets up to $1,000. That's ProPicksNow.com. 21 and over, please gamble responsibly. And if you want to be a sponsor of this here program, don't forget, you can do so by dropping an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com or giving us a call on our world headquarters here in Chicago at 708-391-5142. That's 708-391-5142. Nice to be back in the Windy City after some traveling for a little bit, although it's a possibility I will be back in Terre Haute, Indiana on Friday because a good friend of mine is covering Northern Iowa and Indiana State. We got a preview of that, and I'll tell you who my possible guest may be. Got Inside the Green Room coming up very shortly. Got a couple more segments after that. But it's time for the question of the day, and the question of the day is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Verizon Wireless is the official wireless carrier of Snowman in the Morning and of our flagship station, Arena Sportsnet. You want to sponsor the question of the day, drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. And the question of the day goes a little bit something like this. Will LeBron win a championship during his time in Los Angeles? Question again. Will LeBron win a championship during his time in Los Angeles? I'm going to say this. I'm going to give my answer just as eloquently, as succinctly, and as reserved as I can. And my answer is the following. Hell no. Hell no. With this team the way that it is, are you bleeping nuts? There's no way in hell they're winning a title in L.A. until after LeBron leaves. I said it, and I meant it. I said it, and I meant it. Tweet your answer to @SIT Morning and follow along on Facebook.com/SIT Morning, where I will post the question of the day. And I'm going to try to time it better. I think I'm going to have my producer handle part of the social media, since his ears are tuned each morning. And Shane, I may need you here in a couple of minutes. I'm scheduled to have Mike Green on in a little bit, but I think he overslept, or he'd be ringing my phone right now. And it's nothing against, the people that I scheduled to come in. Schedules happen. Changes happen really, really quick. Really, really quick. But I am going to get Mike on. It'll probably be later in the week. And Shane actually gave me an answer. He says LBJ is not going to win a title in L.A. Oh, I got to put that question out there. I'm going to put the question out there. So y'all hold on a minute. Shane Lake is going to join me in place of Mike Green, and give us a good 15 minutes. But yeah, I owe Shane a lot. Matter of fact, he's going to come in exactly 60 seconds. So we're improvising here on the fly. Couldn't get Mike Green on. Didn't get him in time, but I am going to have someone on while I'm taking care of this. But again, the question of the day: will LeBron win a title during his time in Los Angeles? And again, I'm going to be reserved as I say my answer. And I'm going to say my answer very happily. Hell no. Hell no. Not the way this team is constructed. Not a chance. Not a chance. Let's go out to Maine, the great state of Maine. And I think I got the big dog Shane Lake with me. What up?
You right on my cage for something, homie?
How you doing, man?
We living in a snowstorm, and we got it piled up 6 foot deep.
How's the family doing?
Well, better half could be a little bit better. She's a little under the weather, fighting off a little cold, but little man is two plus, and he's active as ever.
He's 2. That's right. He's 2 now. Holy cow.
Going to be 3 by the time summer rolls around. So
yeah,
it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I remember when little guy was born, and you being a father as well as I, how much of a panic you were in when little man got here.
Oh, you ain't even kidding.
Shane Lake, my wonderful producer and my Twitter eye and my social media eye, joining me here to fill in for my buddy Mike Green, who couldn't make it this morning, but we got this. It's been a while. What's been going on with you, man?
Oh, besides this, that, and the other, going through a couple of computers due to issues, got a better system up and running. Think about planning out a blog for later on this week or going into next with NASCAR's new rule package coming in after Las Vegas. Between all of that and the whole Bryce Harper, where is he going to land? My head's on a swivel, man, and I am running out of WD-40 because I'm squeaking all over the place.
I totally get it. I totally get it. Folks, when I met this man, he said, I could be your producer, And I was down in the dumps at the time I met him, and I said, you can really do that? And he said, yeah. So he hooked up for, I want to say 3 months, and then I bottomed out emotionally. But he stayed in my corner. He kept pushing me. He kept cheering me on. I learned about the birth of his son and how he's getting his family together, and we share a lot of the same problems that we go through. And, people say I shouldn't bring this up and make the show personal, but when you do what I do, when you do what we do, it's nothing but personal. So I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to talk about it. I am going to ask you to keep it clean because I do have some friends listening this morning. Yeah, I know. We're going to have to do an unedited version of my podcast coming up. You know this, right?
Hey, I'm down, dude. Just let me know.
How hard is it as a man when you welcome a child and your family turns their back on you?
You really wanted to keep this censored. Okay. Oh, dude.
This is me going totally off the board, but as I discussed yesterday when I had Smitty on, people think that men are just opting out of relationships and opting out of family. No. For the most part, they're being forced out.
Yeah, well, here's the man empowerment moment of the day for you. As it turns out, it's more of a family-powered moment because if it wasn't for the better half on this one, I'm going to tell you right now, dude, I would have been fried, died, and put to the side.
Yeah, I totally get that. I had what I had to deal with when Donna was here.
Oh,
you know what I had to deal with.
Yeah, and the fact mine, every time I try to reach out, my grandmother passed away not too long ago, and I reached out to my mom about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing she did was try to guilt trip me into everything. First thing.
Oh.
It's like, you got to be kidding me. And this is one of those things where, yeah, I kept a lot of it inside because it's like, okay, I got to be strong because I got a better half who's been under the weather.
Yep.
I got a child who's, oh, God bless him, he's way too active. I can't tell you how many 2 liters I'll drop in a day just to keep up with him. And the fact is, I have to be strong for all of that. And when I finally get some sleep, whether it's during the day when he's napping or at night, God, around 11 or 12 o'clock at night, finally, it's almost like a purebred crash. And it's like, okay, I wake up next morning, okay, let's do it again. But knowing that I don't have my family in my corner, and this has been ongoing for years.
Yeah.
Ever since day one, when I finally got with the missus about all this, the family was completely against it.
I get it.
And the fact is, the family is Old Testament style. I'm not talking old school. I'm talking Old Testament. Like,
understood.
Come on here. I didn't go through the proper channels in their mind, the proper channels of finding the right woman. But I'm also the one who believes in taking opportunity when it comes. Happiness is hard to find these days. So when it slaps you across the face and says, hey, we've known each other 12 years. Let's see if we can make this work.
Right.
And here we are coming up on 4 years later in May. 4 years that this has been going on. She and I both got out of a joke of a relationship way back when. I unfortunately knew the ex of hers. He was a complete idiot, but that's another story for a podcast.
Yes, that's a podcast episode.
Oh, yeah. Short story on that. Yeah. And then we finally, because there's so much she and I click with and all of this, and you figure the family would be happy, and next thing I know, they completely distance themselves because of her past. And it's like, well, gee, really? I thought parents were supposed to be happy for their kids. Thanks, guys.
I'll tell you that. Oh my gosh, I can attest to that, and I'll tell this quick story. And I do have Mike coming on the line, so I'm gonna stop it here, and we'll do a bigger conversation on Friday. In fact, I may open the full second hour, to have you on. We'll discuss the details on that.
For sure.
But when Donna was born, and I tell this story all the time to illustrate a point. When Donna was born, and I finally got up the nerve to tell my mother, because I wasn't going to tell my mother at all, because I know how she's been since Pops died. When I got up the nerve to tell my mother, I didn't even get a congratulations from her when my daughter was born.
Dude, they came down once to see little guy after he was born, and after that, game over, so I feel you.
Game, set, match.
Oh, for sure.
Game, set, match. And that's crazy.
You know what, man? At the end of the day, it's their doggone loss.
That's it. And It's their loss. Now, Donna is no longer here. She passed away in 2015, and I had to face that alone in the midst of going through a very brutal abusive relationship. But fortunately, I have someone now, my beloved Dr. K, in my corner. She's been there since day one, since we got together, and she's been absolutely terrific. So the people that choose not to ride on this train, even though it's picking up steam, they can have it. They're lost.
You know, man, some moments like this that the good Lord puts in front of us that makes us wonder, are we strong enough to handle it? And if you're able to pull yourself up, you're damn straight you are.
That's the big dog, Shane Lake, joining me. He will be back on Friday. We'll give you the details as we go along. I got Mike Green coming in 60 seconds. Man, thanks a lot for filling in, man. I appreciate it.
Yo, man, Mike better be on time next time.
We kid around, Mike. We kid around. Thank you, partner. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah, brother.
That's the big dog, Shane Lake, my producer, filling in for Mike Green, who is ready. And I'm going to get him on the line right now to talk some hockey. Then I got Trey Snide coming at 35 beyond this second hour to talk some baseball. Where is Bryce Harper going to land? Good Lord, we thought we had an answer last night. Didn't get a final decision. And finally, I said, I told Shane in our production meeting last night and this morning that I'm not going to touch it until Bryce makes a decision. And speaking of a decision, you know, when you hear that, it's time to talk some Blackhawk hockey and some NHL hockey. Let's go inside the green room with Mike Green. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You're a little late this morning, man.
I made it.
You did make it. You did make it. That is all right. That is all right. All right, let's hop right into it. We got a few minutes before we talk some baseball. Who were the winners and the losers, in your opinion, at the NHL trade deadline?
Well, the big winner to me was the Columbus Blue Jackets. Man, they acquired 3 outstanding players. Matt Duchene, Ryan Zingle, Keith Kincaid from the New Jersey Devils, backup goaltender, was actually pretty good. Then they acquired Adam McQuaid for the New York Rangers, a solid defenseman. The Columbus Blue Jackets, and they held on to Artemi Panarin, so the Blue Jackets, I think, are a legitimate threat to compete for the Stanley Cup. And I think Winnipeg had a great day getting Kevin Hayes from the New York Rangers.
Yes. The Jets were one of the biggest winners, in my opinion, getting Hayes. Now, who were some of the losers inside from the trade deadline yesterday?
Well, I don't think the Boston Bruins helped themselves much yesterday. I consider them a big loser. The Blackhawks really couldn't do much because pretty much the guys they were looking to unload got no trade clauses.
Right.
Like Anisimov, they were looking to move, but he's got no trade clause. Keith and Seabrook have no trade clauses. So the Hawks are kind of stuck. Like Bowman said, he really didn't want to dismantle the roster because he thinks we still got a chance for the playoffs, but he's also looking at the big picture, and he was looking to dump some salary for over the summer.
Speaking of the Blackhawks, let's go there right now. How big is it for the Hawks to get Corey Crawford back in the lineup?
Well, it definitely will be an upgrade. My biggest concern, let's just hope he doesn't get another concussion, because if he gets one more, he's got to call it a day. And what worries me is he's behind probably the worst defense in the NHL. So
yeah.
He's going to see a lot of shots, 40, 50 shots a game. And all it takes is for one off the head, or he gets run over in the crease like he did last time and banged his head against the goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that should be it. I mean, the doctors have cleared him, so, let's just hope he stays in one piece and stays healthy.
Big L's last weekend when they lost to Colorado 5-3 on Friday and lost to the Stars 4-3. They now trail Colorado in the standings. What do the Hawks have to do this week to get back in the race?
Well, 5 points out of the last wild card spot. We needed to get at least 3 points out of this weekend. We didn't get any. Again, team defense, the penalty killing let them down again. They're on a 3-game West Coast swing. L.A. and Anaheim aren't very good. Hopefully they'll get 4 points there. Then they got San Jose, which will be very difficult. But, yeah, we're in a bind. There's no doubt about it. They're not on it, but it's a long shot now.
It is. It's a long shot. If they could have snatched one of the two, would that have helped?
Oh, definitely. Right. Points are at a premium. They could have gotten just 2 points. They'd only be 3 points to have a lock. It's not that they're so far back. It's just all the teams around them, Colorado, Vancouver, Minnesota. You know, everybody, the only ones that are out of it are L.A. and Anaheim.
Which is wild because we were just playing them a few years back in the West Finals, you know, for a spot in the Stanley Cup, and to see L.A. and Anaheim fall on such hard times.
Yep. Well, L.A. got old, and Anaheim, they won 1 game in 2 months.
Wow.
That'll take, and even that, they're only 9 points out of a playoff spot, but they're pretty much done too.
That's Mike Green. As we go inside the green room, we do this every week, talk everything Chicago Blackhawks and NHL hockey. Catch Inside the Green Room. Look up snowmaninthemorning.com. Find the Inside the Green Room section, and you can hear this conversation as well as previous conversations that we have had on the happenings in the NHL. He may have been late this morning, but he got here, and we got our NHL segment in. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Mike Green joining us as he does every week to talk all things NHL. Folks, don't forget, drop a donation or become a patron. I said it wrong. Become a patron. Look at patreon.com/SIT morning. For as little as $1 a month, you can help this show grow. Spread it amongst your friends, and you can start the premium content coming. This is content you will not hear on the show. A break, and then I have my good buddy Trey Snide to talk some baseball. Where will Bryce land? We don't know. We got no idea. We'll talk about it when we come back. Snowman in the Morning, back in a flash, man.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next! What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what? That makes me mad.
Oh, boy. Rolling right along on this Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. And we got some comments on our Facebook page to our question of the day is, will LeBron win a title in Los Angeles? I'm messing with a few people while I'm doing that. We'll read some of the answers at the end of the show. We got some great feedback. Follow along on our social media. SIT Mornings, the ID you need for Facebook and Twitter. And we're ready to talk some baseball. And yes, baseball is back. And with that in mind, my buddy Trey Snide has joined me via the Verizon Wireless Hotline. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sounds like you're inside this time. You're not on the road as you usually are.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm at the office this morning. I'm about to. So it's a full day here at the radio station. So
I understand. My buddy Trey Snide joins me as he does every week to talk some Major League Baseball. He joins me from WIZS in Henderson, North Carolina, and y'all have mentioned me. Y'all heard me mention that I want to be in North Carolina. I'll give you a hint as to that in a moment. All right, let's answer the big question: where does Bryce Harper land?
Well, to be honest, I mean, as a broadcaster, I enjoy the coverage.
Yes,
but
yes.
As a fan, I'm
it's
about
getting to me.
ready for it to over. Yeah, I'm about ready to be over. But
yes,
Philadelphia has the most money to spend. They're been on the books and on the record showing that they want to be the winners of the sweepstakes for Bryce Harper. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But I mean, I wouldn't count out San Diego as well. You know, have two superstars on their team moving forward. You already have Eric Hosmer. You already have Will Myers. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
Yes.
Manny Machado, obviously, to a 10-year, $300 million deal. But they've come out and said, we're going to we're going to be on the table for Bryce Harper. Now, I don't know if they're going to reach the 326 that he's searching, but it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. But my best bet, like most reporters, is in Philadelphia.
Well, there's a couple of wild cards in the equation, and you and I have both mentioned Philadelphia is the landing spot. We can cross out Washington. He's not going to re-sign with Washington. That is out. That has been made clear. Although we thought a few things were clear last night when I was talking with my producer before we got started on our production meeting. The wild card that is in play, and it's a wild card I mentioned during your show down in North Carolina, the wild card is San Francisco. Even with the retiring Bruce Bochy, San Francisco is a wild card, and it is definitely in play for Bryce.
Oh, absolutely. But are they willing to go up to the 10 years? He's going to get 10 years. It's just a matter of where.
Yes.
And I don't think San Francisco is in the position to be able to give $10 million, but we've shown they need a big-time free agent to come to San Francisco. They did it with Barry Bonds. They did it with Barry Zito. And, I mean, they tried to do it with Cueto and
McCutchen.
Yeah, correct. So, and I mean, Logano from Tampa Bay as well. So, Longoria, excuse me. I'm thinking NASCAR. We're doing a NASCAR show here, so I've been doing that as well. But
see, that's gonna make me want to come to Carolina even sooner. Okay.
but no, I don't. I just don't think they're in the position to be able to offer 10 years, $326 million. It's good. Again, I hope so, because that means they're out of the NL East. Obviously, as most people know that listen to your show, I'm a big-time Braves fan.
Yes.
But
and
we'll
y'all,
see.
From a baseball fan standpoint only, y'all hated Harper because he was just that damn good against Atlanta.
We just did, and I mean, there was rumors that the Braves were going to be in that sweepstakes, but I mean, think of ourselves, there is zero chance that we're going to spend that kind of money. I mean, that's just a pointless conversation. But to go back to your point about where he's going to land, it's either Philadelphia if San Francisco wants to get him a 10-year. He's already come out and said that he does not want to get a short-term deal.
Yes.
So he's pushing for that 10-year, the record-breaking deal. Although he only batted .249, it was a down season, but he still belted, 39 home runs and right at 100 RBI. So he's worth that money. Again, you're only worth as much what people pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody say, "Hey, I want to give you $326 million," of course you're going to take it.
Yeah, of course.
And right now, it's all about the money and the situation. I don't think it really matters about what team he goes to. But if they say, "Hey, we're going to offer you this amount of money, either accept it or not," I guarantee you he'll accept the money.
He will accept it, and he'll accept that in a heartbeat. And this is, I believe, a counter to what Manny Machado did. What got Machado to San Diego? Because that came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, if you've ever been to San Diego, which I've been to the park there to watch a baseball game, it's a beautiful city. The beach is warm. The coldest weather you're going to get is around 70 degrees.
Yeah.
And White Sox were on the table with 250, 8 years.
Yes.
They went to bed believing that he was going to go to the Chicago White Sox. But if you're on the outside looking in, and then spend 3 months out of the year freezing your tail off.
Yeah. This is coming from a guy that was born and raised here in Chicago. Okay, mm-hmm. I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, and when Manny Machado woke up on the next morning, which was a Saturday, if he woke up that morning. That offer wasn't on the table the night before. He woke up really expecting, and the Chicago White Sox expected Manny Machado to accept that deal because that was the highest offer at that time. When he woke up, San Diego had a meeting in the minds. My buddy Wesley Outland from the CRN Network mentions meeting in the minds with the referees. But he woke up and said, "You know what? This offer's on the table. It's a better situation because the prospects are so much better."
Yes.
I mean, by 2020, they'll be right there in playoff run, and they'll be ready to go.
Yeah. So Manny Machado is in San Diego, and let's take a look at an AL Central team to watch. I've mulled over this, talked with some people about this. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, it's going to be Cleveland or it's going to be Kansas City." No, the AL Central team to watch this year and a couple of years beyond, my beloved Chicago White Sox.
Well, I think they're going to need to do a little bit more than what they have been. Now, they've proven that they're able to spend that kind of money. Mm-hmm. So go get a Dallas Keuchel. Go get a Craig Kimbrell. Guys that can fix your young team.
Yes.
Take advantage of that. I mean, you have the money to spend now. You didn't spend $250 million. Mm-hmm. Take advantage of it. And move on with some more free agents.
Right.
Build into the draft. You have some good players in Rodon, which, again, I'm from the Raleigh or the North Carolina area following Carlos through his NC State days. And he's a good young pitcher. Now, he's going to have to stay away from the injury bug.
Yeah.
But they have some good pieces. It's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward because right now, really, and sorry to say it, there's really not much to go on to – not this year, not next year, but possibly 2021, they can do something. But right now, looking on paper, the other teams in that division are by far a much better program. Yeah,
very, very true. AL West team to watch, I believe, is going to be a former champion in the Houston Astros.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's hard not to because, that's just who they are. Again, they're just a good program. And of course, they're losing Dallas Keuchel. They've already said he's not going to go back there. They're losing Charlie Morton, which is he went over to the Tampa Bay Rays. But they're going to have to still get there. They have a few guys that are coming up in the system for the starting rotation. They're going to have the opportunity to start right away. They're going to be fine. Their offense is still potent. They're still good to go. Carlos Correa, George Springer, Altuve, how can I forget him? You need your first base. I think you need to go get a better. Again, Gurriel is good, but he's not what you need to get you over that edge. I think you need to go out and go get somebody like that. There's not much on the market right now, but I think they're going to trade for somebody. Maybe your man at first base over there at the Chicago White Sox, potentially.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
They're definitely the favorite to win that division. Easy.
And last but not least, a tribute to Bochy Ball. Bruce Bochy is calling it a career after this season in San Francisco. And how much of an impact has he had, not just on the Giants, but on the Bay Area as a mainstay?
Well, I mean, I was listening to a interview just the other day where he was hired inside the minor league system growing up, and they asked him what was, did you know that he had the Hall of Fame abilities as a coach? He said, well, if we knew that every time, then I'd be a lot richer than I am right now. But, again, as somebody that's literally grown up in that city, I mean, I don't know if he was born there or what, but he grew up, he made San Francisco Giants a mainstay in their division. He made the Bay Area a mainstay in baseball. And it's a good place to go play. I mean, it's a beautiful park. And so if they can
we're going to have to take a trip out there now to go see it. You realize this.
Absolutely. I'll take a little canoe out there. We'll be good to go. But
Love it.
It's a good way for him to go out if they can bring in, say, a Bryce Harper, or they bring in a few guys that can do something. I think they're going to be okay. But, yeah, he's been a terrific for the Bay Area, terrific for the Major League Baseball. And he'll continue. Yes, he'll retire from the play or coaching, but he'll be in baseball somehow, some way.
Oh, boy. I hate to see Bruce go, but 3 titles in San Francisco when no one thought they'd win a title at all, and he brings them 3 in 5 years? Yeah, I can live with that. I can definitely live with it. Because of Bruce Bochy, I became a Giants fan. Honest, I became a Giants fan because of Bochy. It's gonna be a farewell tour, well deserved. And give my best to all the folks at the Community Radio Network in Clayton, North Carolina, for me, if you would, sir.
I will do it, brother. We have a basketball game tonight, which is the first round of the state playoffs.
First round of state playoffs, and I think what I'm going to do with my network, I'm going to pick it up, and we're going to air it on Arena Sportsnet tonight. We'll work
there
out.
You go.
We'll pick it up. We'll pick it up, and we'll air it tonight on Arena Sportsnet Carolina. So stay tuned for details with that. That's Trace Nye from WIZS in Henderson, North Carolina. And soon I may call North Carolina home. There's a wicked smile across my face when I say that. Oh, man. He's the host of Beach Music Blast. Y'all want to hear some great beach music? Tune into this gentleman right here. I am a faithful listener. I tune in as often as I can. I love it, and I love to see him do more. Not just with that, but with sports as well. First round of North Carolina State playoffs begin tonight. And we'll pick it up over the Community Radio Network, and you'll hear it live on Arena Sportsnet Carolina. Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
It's going to be some fun. It is going to be some fun. But we got to get out of here. We got some stuff to do, and we'll be back tomorrow with another full show. Great guests, great sports talk, honest sports talk. You won't hear it anywhere else but here. Snowman in the Morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time every single day. We're presented by ProPicks. Visit them online at ProPicksNow.com. Make your bets now through great affiliates, including MyBookie, where you get 50% extra off your bets on your Instagram is Snowman in the Morning, the full name. Did you have fun? I certainly did. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Snowman in the Morning. We'll be back tomorrow, as I mentioned. Great guest, honest sports talk, the question of the day, the moment of the day. We're working a few more things in. We're going to continue to tweak it, and we're going to make it better. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. Don't forget to catch us on all of our Arena Sportsnet affiliates, from the Pacific Northwest to the Carolinas to the Bay Area and to our home, sweet home, Chicago. Arena Sportsnet, our flagship station for Snowman in the Morning. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, live with no excuses. Snowman in the Morning, 5 days a week. Until then, I'm out!